A lot of people don't know this, but Chicago is home to the very first skyscraper, or high-rise, or whatever you want to call a tall building. During the second half of the 1800s, Chicago was the economic center of the United States. Not New York, but Chicago. So there was a lot of power and wealth in that city. And when the Great Chicago Fire of 1871 burned down a third of the city, developers started to think big. Prior to the high-rise, buildings had to rely on masonry and load-bearing walls, which only allowed them to build up to 5 to 6 stories. The invention of the I-beam allowed for steel structures, which allowed for buildings to be built much taller. But being able to build tall wasn't enough. You had to transport people to those high floors, which the invention of the elevator allowed. And though the I-beam and the passenger elevator were more than 25 years old, they were only finally put to use when the city was rebuilding itself after the fire. And out of the ashes rose the home insurance building, the first skyscraper in the world, just 10 stories tall. Other skyscrapers followed in Chicago, but it wasn't until a decade later that New York City got its own first skyscraper, which was called the Tower. Since ancient mythology, human beings have been fascinated with tall buildings and tall structures. It makes them feel like they're closer to God, or rather, they're more godlike. As technology advances, every generation gets its own version of a skyscraper. And today we have the super tall, and they continue to get taller and taller.